everybody, it's Ryan Smith. Welcome back to Secret Chord. In this video, we are going to look at how to understand key signatures. Now this applies if you're reading music and looking at a key signature. It also is going to apply if you know what key a song is and you need to figure out what notes, what sharps and flats go along with that key. All right, so first of all, I want to talk about why is this a valuable skill to have in the world of music. And there are a few things. Sight reading music, if that's something that you plan on doing, understanding key signatures will help you do that better. You can look at the key and you instantly understand what sharps or flats you're playing and you can proceed that way. Transposing music, this means changing the key of a song. So if a song is in the key of G, for example, and you want to transpose it to the key of D, understanding key signatures helps you do that. Also, taking a riff or a song start and developing that into a complete song. If you wrote a riff or you got a buddy who wrote a riff and you look at that riff and you can figure out what key that's in and you want to continue to write, knowing the key signatures will help you proceed with that process. You know what chords and notes will work with the riff that you've got started. Transcribing music. This means writing out music. If you need to write out string parts or horn parts, if you're in a band, this will allow you to have that skill if you understand key signatures. And finally, improvising. Improvising is easier to do when you understand keys that you're playing in. So the first thing that we have to understand is that sharps and flats appear in a particular order. We're going to start by looking at sharps. So there's what we call the order of sharps. Sharps will always appear in this cumulative order: F, C, G, D, A, E, B. So that corresponds with the sentence, "Fat cats go down alleys eating birds." I highly suggest memorize that sentence, memorize F, C, G, D, A, E, B. Now, as I said, that's a cumulative order. So you always will start with F sharp as the first sharp in any key, and then we'll always proceed by adding them in order. So if there were 3 sharps, it would be F, C, G sharp. If there were 4, it would be F, C, G, and D sharp. It will never skip over any of those sharps. Now there's a trick, and everybody loves a good trick. So there's a trick for understanding what major key you're in by looking at a key signature with sharps in it. Here's the trick. The last sharp in the key is 1/2 step lower than the root of that major key. So let's look at an example here. If we see a key signature that has 3 sharps, first of all, we can rest assured that those are going to be F, C, and G sharp because they're always going to follow that order. But we can also see that the center of those sharps are directly on the lines and spaces that correspond with those notes. So if we know there's 3 sharps in a key, F, C, and G sharp, the last sharp would be G sharp. That's the final sharp that appears in that key signature. So G sharp is a 1/2 step lower than what note? That would be the note A. G sharp is 1/2 step lower than the note A. So we are in the key of A major when we have 3 sharps. F, C, and G are the sharps. We're in the key of A major. Okay, now let's look at figuring out what notes would be in an A major scale. So the next step is start on A, that's the root, and go alphabetically up from there 7 notes because there are 7 notes in a major scale. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Next step, we apply those 3 sharps to those notes, F, C, and G sharp. So that would give us A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp. Bingo, we have an A major scale. All right, now let's work backwards with another example. Let's say you're in a band and somebody has a song that they tell you is in the key of E major and you need to write and develop your own parts around this song. So if you know you're in the key of E major, we're going to work backwards from that. We have to ask ourselves, what is the sharp that is 1/2 step below the note E? So we just go before E in the alphabet to the letter before it, which is D. So D sharp will be the final sharp in that key. Then we go back to the order, starting at the beginning, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and lastly, D sharp. Those are the 4 sharps in the key of E major. And then we do the same process here where we go through the alphabet, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, and we will apply those 4 sharps. So the E major scale has the notes E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, and D sharp. Voila, there we have an E major scale. All right, now let's take a quick look at what all the keys that contain sharps look like on a staff. And now, my friends, it is time to look at flats. Just as there was an order of sharps, there is also an order of flats. That order is B, E, A, D, G, C, F. There is a mnemonic device to help you remember this as well. The sentence is, battle ends and down goes Charles' father. Now you may notice there's a relationship between the order of flats and the order of sharps. The order of flats is reverse of the order of sharps. So the order of sharps was F, C, G, D, A, E, B. Order of flats is B, E, A, D, G, C, F. So you want to memorize that sentence. Battle ends and down goes Charles' father. Now let's look at a trick that you can use for identifying keys that have flats in them. So the trick is the second to last flat is the root of that major key. So let's look at an example that has 4 flats. Once again, we can rest assured that those flats are going to follow the order. So they would be B flat, E flat, A flat, and D flat. So then we just go through that order and identify which is the second to the last. Since there are 4, the second to the last is the 3rd flat. So B flat, E flat, A flat. We are in the key of A flat major when we have 4 flats in the key signature. So if we wanted to construct the scale, we would do the same process we did for the sharps. We would start by just going alphabetically, starting on A. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Then we apply the flats B, E, A, and D. So it'd be A flat, B flat, C, D flat, E flat, F, G. And those are the notes of an A flat major scale. Let's also do a reverse example where you know what key you're in to start with. So let's say you have a bandmate that brings in a song that's in the key of B flat and you need to improvise over that. So you need to figure out what notes are in the key of B flat. We know that B flat's the root, and therefore that will also be the second to last flat in that key. So we're going to just start at the beginning of the order of flats and go 1 past B flat. Well, B flat happens to be the first in the order of flats. So B flat, E flat, and that's where we stop. There would be 2 flats in the key of B flat major, B flat and E flat. Let's go through the notes of the scale. Let's start alphabetically. We have B, C, D, E, F, G, A, and now let's go through those and apply the flats. B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, A, and there we go, back to B flat. So that is how you figure out the keys that contain flats. And now let's look at what all of the keys that contain flats look like on the staff. Oftentimes I have students ask me, what is the best way to practice key signatures? And I always suggest using an app. In fact, there's a great iOS app called Music Theory Pro that I love using. There are many others like it, and there are always new ones coming out. But apps like this will help you turn identifying key signatures and other facets of music theory into a game. So it keeps it kind of exciting. Of course, in ye olden times, we used the archaic artifacts known as flashcards. And those still work too if you prefer that method. So I hope this video was helpful. Hope that it helps you understand key signatures better and understand why it's a valuable skill to have as a musician. Until next time, stay tuned for more videos like this. Subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. Later on.